The Spider-Man trailer wows, Wonder Man gets a second season, and Project Hail Mary graces the box office. All that and more coming up right after this. Welcome to Multiverse News, your source for information about all your favorite fictional universes. And today, on the eve of the Daredevil Born Again Season 2 premiere, we're here. We're down a host. We're scrappy. I was tempted to say we're halfway there living on a prayer, but that is factually not true. Numerically not true. But we're 3/4 of the way there, living on a prayer, much like Matt Murdock. I'm Jay Scotty St. Clair, and joining me on the panel this evening, we've got Haley Hobbs. What's going on, Haley?
Just so many things. We've got lots to talk about this week.
We do indeed. Also joining us is Jay Sisson. What's happening, Jay?
Yeah, we got to talk about that Spider-Man trailer that was dropped about an hour after we dropped our episode last week. So,
what is that?
Of
the hint of bitterness?
You know what? Salty. Whatever. I was, we even talked about for half a second. We're like, should we do a separate episode for this trailer? And we're like, you know what? No, make them adapt to us. We're not going to adapt to them.
Such power we hold.
Yeah, we'll talk about it with the Punisher TV special, but they heard that message loud and clear.
Exactly. See, it got through.
All right. Well, usually we kick off the show with a new 5-star review, but alas, we have no new 5-star review to read for you. But a couple of weeks ago at this point, we did have a listener write in and provide their Spotify review. So I'll provide that, offer that avenue for you as well. If you're on a different platform and want to leave us a review, just take a screenshot indicating you gave us a positive 5-star review or whatever the equivalent is on your platform, and email us at multiverse. Somebody help me out. What's the
multiverse
Gmail again?
newscast@gmail.com.
Yeah,
we
rehearsed
I don't know.
this clearly. But that's why we're a team. All right. So in lieu of a review, we'll just get right into it. And yeah, let's talk about that Spider-Man trailer. Sony didn't wait long to release the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer we've all been craving. And oh, how it delivered. Unsurprisingly, the trailer now holds the record for the most watched ever, garnering 718.6 million views in a 24-hour period. The new film shows Peter Parker banding together with familiar characters such as Bruce Banner and Frank Castle while he anonymously serves New York City as Spider-Man. Let's not delay. Who wants to take a bite out of this big apple first?
Yeah, and I also saw that today it became the first trailer to hit 1 billion views, like the fastest trailer to hit 1 billion views, which is really impressive. So there's obviously, there's always been interest in Spider-Man. He's the most popular comic book character in the world, but it's clear that the Tom Holland Spider-Man has a degree of staying power that maybe Spider-Man in other iterations hasn't had before, and has kind of, because of the MCU connections, just reached new heights. And looking at the trailer, we have talked for, I think, years, and I think this has just been general MCU discourse. I don't think that this is just us, but the idea that a grounded Spider-Man is sort of a direction that we want this franchise to go. We talk about the first 3 Spider-Man movies, which were all great, and I think we all liked them all, but they had these big stakes. They had Iron Man, they had Doctor Strange, they had all of the other Spider-Men in them, and the conversation, I think, from a lot of people was, all right, where's our kind of classic Spider-Man story where he's anonymous, he's in New York City, he's struggling balancing his school life and his super science genius and his superhero life, and he's trying to put all that together and then kind of navigate all that at the same time. That's kind of the classic Spider-Man story. And this seems to be a little closer to that. We know how the last Spider-Man movie ended with the anonymous nature of Tom Holland's Spider-Man now, and I think that was what we had talked about as being a hope for this movie and a direction. And the trailer was cool because it showed off all of these really cool shots that were the covers of iconic Spider-Man comics and really leaned into the comic book nature of the character. A lot of just slow motion sort of action shots, which I thought was really cool. The connectivity was cool, seeing the Punisher, the street level connectivity, seeing Bruce Banner. I'm not quite 100% sure how I feel yet about he's leaning into the spider power type thing. I think a second trailer will do a lot more for that and kind of explain a little bit more of the story. I'm looking forward to that, to kind of see what direction. We still haven't seen Sadie Sink's character, for instance, or maybe we did and maybe it was the back of her head or something. We just don't really know. But But yeah, I mean, overall, I think this reminded me a little bit more of some of those feelings I got from like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man or the Spider-Man PS4 video game, like some of the kind of more classic looking and classic feeling type Spider-Man. So I'll be really interested to see a second trailer for this. Are we going to, how much are we going to connect this to the Avengers? We know that this is going to come before Avengers Doomsday, so there has to be something there to bridge this movie into that, I would think, in some form. So what's that going to look like? But overall, I thought it was a really strong first look. And we talked about it taking so much time for this trailer to finally hit. And honestly, I think that that's fine. I mean, we're still talking about July. We're still talking about a long way out, multiple months out. We've got plenty of time for a second trailer. This is playing in front of Project Hail Mary. It's going to be playing in front of probably Mandalorian and Grogu. Like, it's going to get a lot of airtime. So, yeah, I'm excited for it, and I thought it was a great first look.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll be honest, I'm a little bit out of the loop when it comes to this trailer because I've seen it a handful of times. But in terms of these numbers, even though I read this outline beforehand, it's still kind of hit in the moment, like 718.6 million views. And then you update us to let us know that's the first one to hit 1 billion. It's not all that surprising, but on the other hand, it is kind of surprising because I think I have a tendency to just kind of, and I hate to say this, but I take Spider-Man's popularity for granted a little bit. And there's a lot of times there's debates about whether or not he is the most popular or recognizable superhero or comic book character out there. I mean, Superman is certainly in the conversation just in terms of iconography. Batman's definitely a popular one as well. But with numbers like these, I think there's just no denying. And I think I'm kind of bought in because I'm a Spider-Man guy. I've been a Spider-Man guy all my life, but I just kind of forget that everybody is kind of a Spider-Man person. That's why he resonates the way he does. So for my purposes, yeah, I thought this was a great trailer. I was pretty impressed with how they held back on certain things, particularly with like Sadie Sink, especially with all the speculation and rumors that have been going around about which character she's playing. I kind of liked the fact that they didn't give us an answer there. It felt like a little bit of like, know your place, all right? We'll tell you when we're ready to tell you. But there was a little bit of an element of like, and I think this is typical of Sony trailers in particular. Like it felt like they were kind of throwing everything, including the kitchen sink there. And I did have a little bit of a moment was like, wow, there's so many characters and so many threats that I wasn't anticipating. Is this going to be too much for a grounded street level Spider-Man? But the parts that really did encourage me were the emotional beats and the fact that, hey, we're going to be spending a lot of time with Peter at his lowest point when he's kind of down and out. And there was the question about whether or not Zendaya and Ned, MJ and Ned, whether or not they were just going to be used in a very small capacity, and that still remains to be seen. But I got the sense that no, they are going to be a big part of his life, and his pining for those former relationships is going to be a big part of this movie as well. So I think you covered the trailer and its impact pretty thoroughly there. So we don't normally lean into a lot of speculation around here, but I do think this is a trailer that just lends itself to speculation. So I haven't seen this anywhere else, but I'm going to put it out there. If it has been said elsewhere, I apologize. Don't come after me, but I'm planting my flag right now. The mutation that they're talking about, the fact that it does look like Peter may be taking a trajectory towards Man-Spider and some of those things. I think it's Scorpion. I think Scorpion's venom may have like some gamma radiation roots and do something to kind of exacerbate his mutation. And Michael Mando, the actor portraying Matt Gargan here, he's been kind of cagey with some of his social media game, like showing images of the character when he had the Venom symbiote. And there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not the Venom symbiote will be in this film. I think they may do kind of a back door where, hey, we can tap into some of the darker things that occur with Peter's character alongside the symbiote, but have it maybe come from a different source. That is kind of what I expect. And with the Hand and the ninjas, in the fray, do they see him as some kind of like legendary or like prophesized like beast that they have to take out? I could see it going that direction, but obviously that is pure speculation. I'm really curious to hear what everybody else thinks about this trailer and the future for the marketing, because they did just come out of the gate swinging. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do from here.
Yeah, you did remind me that we have the last piece of the Sonyverse popping around the MCU. We have that little tiny piece of Venom just slinking around somewhere. Are we going to forget about that, or is that going to end in the pile of loose threads, or is that going to pay off in some way?
Sony's not going to let us forget about
True that.
My first thought after seeing this trailer was, I don't think this is Tom Holland's last Spider-Man outing for Sony.
Oh, sure.
Which is kind of wild to think about. He's already making more films than Tobey or Andrew made, and yet as I watched it, I'm like, this isn't the kind of movie that you like. We're ending the character with this. Not when you're, if you think about the W of storytelling, we're kind of in a down in the W, and it's like, I don't want to leave Tom Holland, who we all love and adore, and who makes me cry when he cries, in the bottom of the W. We have to bring him back up. He's got to be with MJ. He's got to be reunited. And so I think we might get a 5th Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, which is kind of crazy. And the other big takeaway from me was, and I said this to Jay when we were talking about the trailer, was that Daniel Destin Cretton is kind of becoming that guy for Marvel. I compared him on source pages and with Jay to Lucasfilm's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau pairing. Like, he seems like he's becoming the storyteller that they can rely on, and a storyteller that they're okay giving not just, characters we really know and love attention, but characters we're not super familiar with, like Shang-Chi and Simon Williams. And so I think that's awesome for him, and I think that we've needed that in the MCU in a way that we haven't had for quite a while. And as they're trying to right this ship and make things go forward in a successful way, I think they're putting a lot of eggs in his basket, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and they've had those people in some ways before, and they've wanted certain people to be that person. Obviously, we know the success the Russo brothers have had, and they're back in the fold. But yeah, John Watts, I think we've seen some moves to try to make him that person at some point, and then sort of a diversion away from him, and obviously Joss Whedon and all that stuff, all that stuff. So there's kind of there's been those attempts, but that's what they want to do. I mean, that's what the franchise model is you want to bring people in that you can have do these multiple films, like kind of what the Russo brothers have done, and they can carry common threads and they can build relationships with the actors. So yeah, we're seeing something here from Shang-Chi to Wonder Man to now. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but a Wonder Man season 2, and then to get Spider-Man, the biggest character in the universe potentially. You're talking about somebody that's definitely on the rise in the Marvel Studios building.
100%. Let's keep this MCU news train a rolling and talk about some of the other reveals we got just this week and today even. It's a 3-for-1 MCU week with the announcement that a second season of Wonder Man is beginning production and a title plus release date for the Punisher special presentation. All of the creatives behind Wonder Man are returning for the second season, including Destin Daniel Cretton as director and executive producer. Marvel announced the news with a social media post of the front of the script for the next season. Today, the film studio let us know that the Punisher TV special will be called One Last Kill and is set to drop on May 12th, the week after the finale of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. So much to bite off here. What are we chewing on the most?
Well, just as I feel convinced that we're getting more Tom Holland Spider-Man, I'm a little worried that this might be the end of Frank Castle Punisher by John Bernthal. I hope not. I think that One Last Kill is a comic run. Don't quote me. I could very much be wrong. I literally just thought of that right in this second.
Email all your hate to Multiverse Newscast.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. Whatever. I'm like Teflon. You can't touch me.
If you leave it with a 5-star review, we'll read it.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Let's not start that.
Sorry.
But, I
I
don't know that that's the case. And maybe they're faking us out. Maybe they're like, we're gonna scare you with this. Like something's gonna happen to him. Maybe John Bernthal is done with Punisher. I don't know. Again, this is all speculation. I am excited for that, though. The Punisher was my favorite of the Netflix shows. Very contrary to how you would think I would go, but I just really love his performance, and I think he embodies that character really well, but also brings a more nuanced and updated edge to Frank Castle, because he can be taken in a way that he's not meant to be most of the time. And I think that John Bernthal, and he's written well for the MCU as well, I think he does a good job with it. So excited about that. And then I'm really stoked for a second season of Wonder Man. I think that if this had been WandaVision back in 2021, it would also have gotten a second season, because I feel like these shows have similar trajectories in that they are unique and very different in tone, and like the short episodes and all of this stuff. But if we can't get another season of WandaVision, Kevin, I'm talking to you directly right now, then I'm really excited about this one because I thought that show was just a standout. I know that for a lot of people it was too much of a departure, but I think it was the breath of fresh air we really craved in the MCU and really needed. And I think it drew in people who want to write the MCU off as cheaper storytelling. So, woohoo.
Yeah, just kind of dovetailing off of your thoughts on Wonder Man, I can't help but think of, similar series. Like Moon Knight comes to mind. I liked Moon Knight a lot, but in my opinion, it didn't stick the landing. And I think that's the difference between a series like Moon Knight and a series like Wonder Man. Like, it was just universally praised, and it's just so encouraging that we were complaining for the longest time that Disney and Disney Plus specifically, like Marvel Television, had a really bad tendency, whether it was intentional or not, just the optics behind the characters and the people working on these films, that they decided to just relegate, give very little marketing, drop them all at once or across the span of a couple of weeks. And despite everything it had kind of going against it in that regard, this is still the little show that could, the show that triumphed. And I just love to see it because I thought Yahya Abdul-Mateen was transcendent in the role. You got to love Trevor Slattery. And again, it kind of feels like Destin Daniel Cretton has kind of earned this clout and this swaying power. So kind of like we were talking about previously, if this is what he's capable of and kind of the sway that he has within Marvel, I think, we're looking at another, kind of like James Gunn character. I love to see that, and it makes me encouraged for the return of some other characters. Like maybe they will finally bring Moon Knight and other characters back into the fold, and with a deft hand like Destin Daniel Cretton at the helm, it could go a lot more smoothly this time and be a lot more cohesive. To bounce over to the Punisher stuff, similar to you, Haley, it does leave me with some questions with the title One Last Kill. It's like, it kind of feels like a lot of weight and finality to that, but it also has me kind of wondering, are we ever going to get a trailer for this thing? Because Daredevil season 2 starts tonight, unless it's going to be attached to that show, which it very likely could, like maybe at the halfway point or something like that. They could decide to drop a trailer a la a post-credit scene or something like that. But I can kind of see a scenario where they don't, and they just kind of rely on Daredevil season 2 to be the ramp up to this film. But I do wonder, John Bernthal has not been officially cast in Daredevil season 2. I guess we'll learn sooner rather than later here. He's highly speculated to appear, and I thought it was a foregone conclusion, but maybe not. Maybe they really hold off and tease him, and then show us what he was up to during the ongoings of this special presentation that we're going to get. So, as far as the timing goes, if all of that speculation pans out to be true, it'll probably pay off in the end. But I personally would like a little bit more breathing room, like give it a couple of weeks in between the finale of this show and this special presentation, because that also kind of gives a little bit more of a fills in the void that you have between Daredevil season 2, and we're not going to get anything until July's Spider-Man Brand New Day, which obviously John Bernthal is a part of. So and keeping that in mind, I think that the 1-2 punch of this being titled One Last Kill, and the fact that John Bernthal is going to be making his first theatrical appearance, and he's talked a lot about how much he enjoys working with Tom Holland. They've been together on the set of The Odyssey. I do kind of get the sense that, hey, I've gotten to do everything I wanted to do within this universe. I got to do the hardcore thing. We toned it down a little bit for a theatrical release. Got to work with my buddy here, Tom. It wouldn't surprise me. He seems like the kind of talent and artist that will stop while he's ahead instead of trying to milk it and run it into the ground. So maybe that's for the best. We'll see.
Yeah, we talked before the show. This actually shifted the release schedule for Daredevil a little bit. The original, when this story first came out, Marvel didn't put out a press release. This was straight up just John Bernthal posted this on his Instagram with like a picture, and it was a poster, and it was just like, this is happening on May the 12th, and it was just out there. And then all the trades went and reported it after that as being confirmed. And we read it and we were like, May 12th, that's the Daredevil finale. That's kind of crazy. And then we looked and they had updated the Daredevil release finale to where now, instead of weekly, episodes 2 and 3 will both release next week. So you get 2 next week, and then it's weekly from there. So the Daredevil finale will be on May 5th, and then the Punisher special presentation will be on May 12th. So we're seeing a little bit of a shift there, which I think is the right move. I think it would have been kind of weird to drop them both on May 12th, and I think you're assuming a lot of people have kept up weekly with the show, which I know a lot of people who listen do, but you have to realize most audiences don't. They sort of catch it in pieces as it goes. So yeah, I think that makes total sense. Give it at least a week. I was really surprised that Wonder Man got a second season, and pleasantly surprised. Whenever we talked about this show back in December, right before it released, we talked about, man, this thing's dropping all at once. It's going to get buried. No one's going to ever hear about it. No one's going to talk about it. And it definitely had that danger of that happening to it. But then people watched it, and I saw basically universal acclaim. And I saw a lot of people who don't really watch Marvel and don't really watch the MCU kind of coming out and saying this show's really great. And it was something that, like, I haven't really watched a lot of Marvel TV, but maybe they've kept up with the movies and they got talked into watching Wonder Man, and they were all in on it because it is so different and it's funny and it's interesting, and it's got but also it has a conclusion. And so that was kind of where, like, after I walked away from that season, I kind of thought, yeah, we're probably not going to see this character again because it dropped at once. It was great, but it had a definitive end, and it's probably sort of a story that we're going to close up. So to see it get a season 2, I think really shows us the direction of Disney Plus here, right? We're going to stick with these more grounded level characters. We're going to try to keep the stories mostly self-contained on Disney Plus, not do a ton of movie crossover like we did at the beginning. We talked about at the beginning the strategy was the WandaVisions, the Falcon and the Winter Soldiers, the big screen to small screen to big screen. Now we're seeing a reshift and a retooling where it's big screen is big screen. It's Avengers Doomsday, it's Spider-Man, but then small screen is small screen. It's where we can play with these characters only in New York, small-scale threats, not these gigantic threats that then have to be solved in a movie somewhere. But yeah, I think we're going to see. I think we'll see a push for Ben Kingsley to get an Emmy. Honestly, like after this, I think we're going to see this show get put up for Emmys. Especially knowing that there's a season 2 coming, you're more likely to be able to get an Emmy. Now, I don't know if they'll win, but I think like in the same way we saw like Andor, for example, get put up for Emmys and kind of get into that conversation, I think you'll see the same thing with Wonder Man. Like I think it's that kind of show. I think we talked about it a lot as kind of reminding us of the studio. The studio did great at the Emmys. The industry loves stuff about itself, which Wonder Man is. And so, again, I don't know if they'll win. I mean, I know Ben Kingsley, he's got an Oscar, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gandhi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he, I think, seeing him, an Oscar winner, doing this MCU thing and elevating it, and probably could throw his hat into the ring for Best Supporting Actor in a series. I think we're going to see this Wonder Man come back up whenever we come around to award season in some of these categories.
Will he factor into the X-Men and the Mutant Saga?
Just let him stick around, Just put him in everything. He can be our connective tissue of the
He's
MCU.
our new Phil Coulson. Trevor Slattery.
Yeah, this kind of feels like a separate conversation, but it did bring to mind, Jay, you were kind of talking about how the movies are the movies and the small screen's the small screen. And it's been talked about elsewhere, but just thinking about the X-Men and how the Mutant Saga is going to be the future, I do think it behooves them to kind of, toe that line and find the best of both worlds, because I think there are a lot of X-Men characters that would function better in like TV shows. And that could be a way to build up a little mini verse as well. All right, let's continue to talk about the big screen though. Remember how all we can do is rave about Project Hail Mary? Well, the box office agrees, as the Ryan Gosling-led film opened to $141 million globally last weekend, with 80.6 of that being domestic. In the era of sequelverse, Hail Mary rivals only Oppenheimer for being the other film to pass this kind of benchmark that isn't a continuation of a franchise. No one here is surprised, but is the industry.
I hope the industry takes some lessons from Project Hail Mary. And I talked about this a little bit. We did a review cast on Project Hail Mary where we talked about it a little bit more in depth, so I don't want to repeat myself too much from that. But one of the things that we talked about on that podcast was that this movie was made with care, and it was made with a budget, and it was made with practical effects, and it was made in a way that clearly the people making it really committed to actually making something good and not cutting corners, and you can tell. Right, like when you watch the movie, it looks gorgeous. It's funny. It's well written. The characters are acted extremely well. The script is very well treated, and you can tell as you watch it that it's not some lame CGI slop fest. It's not green screened. It's not CGI alien running around. It looks great, and I hope when Hollywood sees these numbers, and I think we'll continue. I know we've got some other movies coming down the line. We've got Super Mario coming out and all that type of stuff. But I think we're going to see a steady rise in this box office. I wouldn't be surprised if it does what Oppenheimer did. It's kind of right with Oppenheimer's opening, and I wouldn't be surprised if we continue. And by the time we get to the end of the box office, we're looking at a similar sort of number to what Oppenheimer got to, which I think was somewhere in like the $800 million range or something like that. Is sort of in that ballpark. But we talked about why this movie was going to be successful in the months leading up to it, because the book world has not stopped raving about Project Hail Mary for the last year. I mean, it has been like complete takeover of your book talks and your bookstagrams and all that. It's been Project Hail Mary constantly, right? So we knew that there was a huge passion and interest for it already. So that type of adaptation, though, like, we don't need it to be a franchise. It doesn't need to spin off into a sequel. It doesn't need to spin off into a streaming show. It can just be a movie that you go see, and it's great, and it has a beginning, and it has a conflict, and it has a resolution, and we walk away completely satisfied with no cliffhangers, no post-credit scenes, and we feel good about where the movie left us. And that is what I want from the movies. I said on our review cast, like, this movie reminded me why I love the movies, and that's the experience that I want to have whenever I'm in a theater. I don't want to be thinking like, well, how's this going to set up for the next thing or whatever. Like, I just want to watch something that's great. So I hope that there are lessons taken away here about assume your audience is smart, assume that they can keep up. You don't have to say the plot lines over and over and over again to keep me off my phone. Like, assume that I'm in and that I can keep up and make movies that look good and stand the test of time. And when I watch them again, they hold up, right? So I loved Project Hail Mary, if you can't tell. Again, if you want to hear more about it, Scotty and Matt and I talked about it in an episode that should be right under this one in your feed. So check that out if you've seen the movie. But I would also recommend, if you haven't seen it, book or not, go see it, because I think you'll. I can't imagine you not enjoying it if you go see it.
This is a big win for everybody involved. It's Ryan Gosling is a viable movie star after this, which just I love to see, especially after a couple of years ago, The Fall Guy. I've been on record about how much it disappointed me, how poorly The Fall Guy performed. And
it wasn't
so
his
excited.
fault that movie was
no,
bad.
no, I don't lay that at his feet at all. And that does speak to what worked for this movie. It was a combination of everything. It was the marketing, I won't talk too much about the content of the movie itself, but it was a very, very faithful adaptation. But it's also a huge win for Amazon MGM. This is their highest opening ever. It's the highest opening of 2026 thus far. I think it's already the 9th highest grossing film of 2026, and it's early on, but it does bring to mind, like you mentioned, after this we've got Super Mario Galaxy. Like, this is really kicking off like the blockbuster season. This is the first like big undeniable hit of 2026, so I love to see it. And like I said, it's a win for everybody involved, everyone in front of the camera, behind the camera. Lord and Miller, just a great showcasing and return to form for them. I mean, they've never had a bad film in my opinion, but with the behind the scenes solo drama and them getting kicked off of this, or kicked off of that rather, this did feel like, what a triumph for them. But ultimately the biggest winner I feel like is me. And not just me specifically, but just, fans of this kind of movie and the cinematic experience, because I think they're going to learn some lessons. I think they might be a little bit surprised, speaking to the industry, because the thing about this movie is projections were they kept getting brought up and up and up. And even these numbers that we're talking about exceeded expectations. So yeah, that's what happens when you do it right. The proof is in the pudding. When you put the money, the time, and the resources behind it and trust your audience, it pays off in dividends. So as far as how it's going to fare when it gets faced with a little bit more competition, that remains to be seen. But I am definitely encouraged, because while Mario will definitely get a little bit of a younger audience. Like, that is the thing about this movie. It's a 4-quadrant crowd pleaser, and Ryan Gosling and Lord Miller are the perfect people to deliver that. They did it with Lego. They did it again with Spider-Verse, and it just makes me that much amped for whatever they have in store for us next.
Well, I still haven't seen the movie because I was out of town and I'm waiting to see it with my husband. So I was showing restraint by not going. But I also don't have to worry about being spoiled because I know the plot of the film. So it's not a big deal to me. I'm going on Saturday. But today I saw something about, they marketed this movie immediately with Rocky, which people were saying was a huge spoiler. The thing about the story is, without spoiling it, there's a couple other huge things that happen that make Rocky not the spoiler, and instead they got to use this puppet for the most amazing marketing things that I've seen in a while for a movie. And so it was actually very smart of them. And I think I might have been like, they really might have not have done that right away. But now I see the vision behind it. Like, it made a lot of sense. And in that way, you could realize, I can probably take my kids to this. We can probably all go see this as a family. This can be our spring break thing if we're going to go. And clearly it did what it was supposed to do. I'm really, really excited to see it. I think it might. I don't know. It's hard with all these other superhero things coming out this year, but it might be my favorite movie this year without even seeing it yet. I'm just so excited. I'm really excited, like, for my husband who hasn't read the book to see it, and to experience the joy of that story, because I don't know. I'm really hyped for it. And I think the message of hope that it brings is really reaching people, which is lovely.
The press tour was fantastic. And a lot of that, like 85% of that, is just because Ryan Gosling is Ryan Gosling, and you just put him in front of the camera and ask him questions, and it's like he's going to make content, just from being himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, press tour was fantastic. I mean, they had people out there puppeting Rocky on the red carpet, and just bringing him out with Ryan Gosling, and I mean, it was great and really well done. He hit all the late night shows, he hit all the podcasts, and created launched 1,000 clips, into the internet. So I think Lord and Miller have just reached this point where they can deliver a masterclass. They're really good at, like, taking their time developing a story. They have incredible range with the stories that they can tell. And this is just another example of just the run that they're on and the things that they can accomplish from a marketing standpoint to a visual standpoint. We talked about on the podcast, like, that I had read yesterday, like, they have had this script. Ryan Gosling has had this script for 6 years. Like, he has been reading over this before the book even came out, and the book even and the book has since sort of ascended to these, like, super levels where everybody was reading it. Before any of that happened, there was already a script, there was already plans, there was already discussion, and that patience paid off so huge, because not only was the movie better, and I think, I talk more about this in the review, but there's so many scenes in this, and I won't talk about them specifically. There's so many scenes in this movie where a studio that was looking to save money and keep it to where, you got to keep this to an hour and a half or whatever, they probably would have cut this one and this one and this one and this one. But when you look back on this movie's long, I mean, it's a little shy of 3 hours, but when you look back on a lot of these scenes, you've got a lot of scenes that are beautiful and well done and, like, memorable. Do they advance the plot forward? No. Do they have any action? No. But if you took them out, the movie would feel so much cheaper, because it would just, there's so many of these, like, character moments that, again, they don't do huge reveals. They're not launching the plot forward, but they're just important moments in the movie. And I think in hindsight, I think this is a movie that when you rewatch it again in, like, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you're going to be like, man, this one holds up. Like, this is, like, in the same way you watch Lord of the Rings now, you're like, this holds up. Like, I think you're going to watch Project Hail Mary and be like, yep, still great, even 10 years from now. And that's not always the case with movies. So yeah, definitely just Lord and Miller, I think, have just become, like, must-see directors now. Like, if they're making it, you got to see it.
I think, too, like, Ryan Gosling picks good projects. He
Yeah,
knows
totally.
what he's doing when he signs on to a film, and his taste I think I mentioned this about Timothée Chalamet, who I think also picks really good projects to be in.
Agreed.
That's I think that's a talent in of itself. It's like, yeah, you could be in anything. If I was an actor, I'd be in any slop because I'd be like, cash that check, baby. I don't care, But I think it speaks to their own intellect and talent. Yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm excited for like one very specific scene too.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've sung the praises of the marketing and the promotion, but I will admit it's been a long time since I've been tempted to purchase a promotional popcorn bucket. But Regal did have the Rocky and his Xenonite hamster ball. It's pretty cool.
Cute.
It's pretty cool.
You're
Just
like,
his little
you're gonna
arm
draw me
feeds you
back in.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's a kernel.
Yeah.
Would you like a kernel? Question.
Popcorn question? Not for Scotty.
No, sadly.
Just
What
the
do you
I'm
put
just
in
here
your
for the
popcorn
bucket.
bowls?
Actually, I've never put anything into
They're
the
display.
Dune.
They're display
I
Not
pieces.
anything I'm willing to
okay?
talk about on air.
Those are collector's items.
We know you have that Dune bucket.
I mean, you can only put one thing in that Dune bucket. I mean, come on now.
Okay,
Just
I
one look
have
at
had
it.
popcorn in my Mission Impossible one. I will admit.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm like, yeah.
Nice.
I only have a Cinemark, and we have the lamest popcorn buckets that they put on display. Like they have one for the Super Mario movie put out right now, and it's just like the little star character or whatever. And I'm like, where it doesn't even have a popcorn spot. I don't know what the deal of it is. It probably
They're
open
missing
somewhere.
the plot.
But that thing's like $50. I'm like, get out of my
Ugh.
face. Like
Yeah.
popcorn bucket inflation.
Wait for like 3 weeks after the movie. They'll have them for like 18.
Sure. All right, well, we've reached that point in the show where we're going to pause for a quick break, but when we get back, we got the lightning round. And coming up in the lightning round, lots of animated news, including Lilo and Stitch, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Minecraft. We remember Chuck Norris, and unfortunately, the live-action Moana trailer. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Multiverse News.
There we go. Yeah. You held it. You held it together for the audience.
All right.
Do it for the cast.
Do it for the cast.
We commit to a bit around here. Well, I hope everyone had a nice break. Before we get back into the show forthright, we've got to talk about our Patreon. It's what keeps us going around here, and we didn't decide beforehand. So, who's talking about the Patreon this time?
I'll do it as the plebeian who hasn't seen Project Hail Mary yet. I mean, give us $4 a month and I will. How hard is that? You can just go to patreon.com/multiverse newscast and you can pay me to go see Project Hail Mary. No, not really. But it does help support the show, which is major, and we really appreciate it. And we have all kinds of treats over there for you. You get your own polls. You get ad-free episodes. When we do live streams, when we're not in an active MCU season, thanks Marvel for always doing those on Tuesdays, you get those after they disappear from YouTube forever. So go sign up. Patreon.com/multiverse newscast.
I heard if you put it on the internet, it's always forever. Like it'll always be there. That's what I learned in school.
Jay, you ruined our Sandlot bit, and for that, I can never forgive you.
Well, you know who didn't ruin our Sandlot bit? Our special shout-out Patreon this week, DJ Potter.
Is he a DJ,
Potter.
or is his
He
name
probably
DJ?
gets that all the time and probably hates me for it.
Let us know. Send us a DM on Patreon.
See, I'm picturing right now like a DJ, but he's a potter, so like he's got his turntables are
Spinning the
going, and
wheels.
he's
Yeah.
throwing the
I like it.
ceramic on
I like it.
the turntable, and he's making like a piece of ceramic art while he's mixing the beats, and then he's giving out the ceramic art to people. It's like
It's
part
too
of
many dad jokes wrapped in
Yeah.
one.
I like it a lot. I call this one made that for you. All right.
And
let's
that's the
turn-
show, everybody. No, I'm sorry.
Haley has left the building.
Listen, if
Yeah,
you don't think
I'm
that's
done.
funny, you're listening to the wrong show. Like, why are you here?
Like, why are you here?
Well, one of the reasons you may be here is to find out what happened in last week's Spotify poll. Last week we
Heyo.
asked, how hype are you after the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer? Good on Matt for the foresight there. Even though we didn't have the trailer, he framed the question around the trailer that was
Imminent.
Shortly inbound. Yeah. Imminent. Yes. So the responses were super hyped at 78%, medium hyped at 21.2%. And that shows our audience right there, because sorta hype and not so hyped had 0% each. So
Real
people
ones.
There you go.
are hyped.
Woo! For
I don't know how
sad
you-
Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm surprised there wasn't like one contrarian, because there's always got to be that guy that's like, actually, it wasn't good.
Thanks
Here's
for being
why.
cool last week, everybody. Keep it up.
So I'm glad that we don't have that guy in our audience.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Well,
Even that guy gets to take
sometimes.
a week off.
Even
just
that
missed
guy
the
can't
poll.
deny the power of Spidey.
even that guy's like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine.
He's
I'm
like,
sorta
how do I
hyped."
go back and do that?
Thank you, that guy. All right. This week's lightning round brought to you by that guy.
He had to
If
go
this-
he had to go put like 10 hate comments just because he felt joy, so he had to balance it out. You know, he's like, I gotta go hate on like
I gotta
10
get
things.
this out of my system. Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, if this is your first time joining us for a lightning round, the way it works is we have a bevy of stories that we want to talk about, but they didn't qualify as feature stories this week. But we'll still run down them. And as we do, everyone will get the opportunity to claim the story by chiming in with their name. That makes the story theirs. If you feel so compelled to respond to a story after someone's claimed it, you get a rebuttal or two. So that's the way the lightning works. With that said and done, let's get right into it. First up, Disney has announced release dates for Lilo & Stitch 2, which is coming out on May 26th, 2028, Memorial Day weekend, and Pixar's Incredibles 3, which debuts on June 16th, 2028. Scotty, first blush, I'm excited for both of these things, one more than the other. I will say that Lilo & Stitch, well, actually, this is Lilo & Stitch 2, so this is like the animated sequel?
I think
Or
they're
is it
doing
the
live action. They're
Okay,
gonna do
that
live
makes more
action, I
sense.
think.
Yeah, because the thing made $1 billion. Of course,
Yeah.
they're doing a sequel to that. But
Bob
that
Iger's
was
like,
one-
on my
You'll
way
get
out,
it.
you're getting
You'll get it
Lilo
and
and
you'll-
Stitch
yeah.
live too.
yeah,
You'll get it and you'll like it.
That's right.
Shove it down the throat.
Now, that was one of the live action remakes where I felt they did make enough changes to the story that it was worthwhile for me. But again, I like Lilo and Stitch, but I'm not super beholden to it or have a ton of endearment or protectiveness when it comes to that property. So it was kind of fresh for me and I liked it. Incredibles 3, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, but looking at these release dates, May and June, with about 3 weeks in between, that might be enough time, but I am reminded of like circa 2018 where Disney was putting like Marvel and Star Wars up against each other, and I think Solo really suffered for it. So I hope that is not the case come 2028 or summer 2028, but we'll see. This is still a ways off. They can move things around. Netflix has rounded out the main cast of the upcoming live-action Scooby-Doo series. Tanner Hagen will play Shaggy Rogers, Abby Ryder Fortson will play Velma Dinkley, and Maxwell Jenkins is set as Fred Jones, joining previously cast McKenna Grace as Daphne Blake. Paul Walter Hauser has also joined the cast as a series regular in an undisclosed role.
Haley. I mean, he's Scooby-Doo, right?
He's got
He's
it.
voicing Scooby-Doo.
He has
Yeah.
to be Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Are
Like,
we supposed
what
to
are we
be
doing?
excited about this? Like, I don't understand what we're doing. Like, what? Okay, yay. I don't know.
Like,
What are
I
we
only
doing?
want you to do this if you're going to do it totally different than the originals. Like, if you're going to do something like different and wild, like I'm okay with it. But if you're just going to be like, let's unmask this guy. Oh, it's the mayor, and it's like that every time. It's like, okay, sure, I guess.
I
know.
don't understand I don't understand what we're doing.
I could be talked into it because, like, I liked Scooby-Doo growing up. Like, if you showed me a trailer and the trailer was really good and I was like, okay, wait a minute, we're cooking a little bit. Like, I could be talked into hit and play. But I think I need it to be a little different, and I just don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to play the hits.
I have to imagine they're going to take it in kind of the Riverside Stranger Things direction a little bit. Like, you guys miss
Yeah.
Stranger Things, don't you? You want a lovable quartet of teens and their sidekick.
Yeah.
We got you
I
covered.
think this is
Teens in
supposed to
quotes.
be. I think what I've seen too is this is supposed to be like a prequel-esque type thing. It's supposed to be like how they met type
Oh,
thing.
right.
So you could, I guess, see it evolving from there. But I don't know if that always works. Like when you're talking about characters that were developed decades ago, and
Right.
it's not like the youth are super
I
attached
don't
to
need
Scooby-Doo characters.
Pre-Scooby-Doo. Like, they're
Yeah,
fully formed.
right.
They just
That's what I'm
popped
thinking
out of
too.
eggs like that. I don't need them to be anything else. Let's
we
move
know
on.
who they are. We know that like
Somebody
Shaggy's
somewhere was about to
dumb,
lose the
you know.
rights to this, and they were like, we got to make the Scooby-Doo.
There's going to be a 4-episode arc devoted to why Shaggy goes by Shaggy and not Nelvin.
Yeah, like that. I don't need the lore, you know. Like it's fine. I know who the characters are. I know what their quirks are. Go solve a mystery. Let's do
And you
this.
can't like serious down a Scooby-Doo because it's called Scooby-Doo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's still a dog, and they're still eating sandwiches that have like a bunch of garbage on them and stuff. And there's, you know, it's still
Oh, man.
Suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Well, speaking of, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 has added Ben Kingsley and Nick Offerman to the cast in undisclosed voice roles.
Haley, not this becoming the most popular thing for people, like huge names to be in. It's so funny. And yet people say they're great. So that's cool.
Listen, Kristen Bell
Great.
is
We're
in
good.
this movie. Idris Elba's in this movie.
I'm just saying what people say.
Keanu Reeves is in this movie, and now we've added Nick Offerman.
This
and
is
Ben
what I'm
Kingsley.
saying.
But the thing is, I have no idea who they're going to play. Like, I'm a reasonably large Sonic fan. Like, I haven't played every game, or I don't know every character, especially some of the newer ones. But I can't even begin to think who they're gonna play. But Nick Offerman with that gruff voice, he's got to be playing some kind of creature.
We're going real deep into the lore book for Sonic 4.
My frame of reference for Sonic is like Sonic toys at Sonic. You know what I'm saying? That was a long time ago. Whatever. You go off, guys.
All right. Sony Pictures has tapped Wonka director Paul King to write and direct its upcoming live-action Labubu project, a film based on the popular line of toys. King will write the film and with Tony Award-winning writer Stephen Levinson.
Haley, no.
What did Stephen Levinson write again? It was something like really popular.
Did he? I don't know.
Hold on. Stephen Levinson. What did he write? Okay, podcast. Yeah. He wrote Dear Evan Hansen, the musical. Yeah. Yeah, which that's what won him the Tony. So, hey, I mean, if you're gonna make a live action Labubu movie, I guess go get accomplished people to write it. I don't know. This is something we're gonna have to talk about, so we might as well just skip.
Make something out of nothing.
Do we want to vote Labubu out of the lightning round, or do we want to continue to talk about?
Oh my
Labubu?
God, yeah! Send it to the ninth circle of hell, never to be touched again.
we need the listeners to chime in. Like, do we want to stop?
Thing.
The
Labubu is done, right? Like, I don't hear anything about Labubu anymore. That like is
I
it
just
over?
see them on people's backpacks and stuff.
It'd be like if you were like, let's make a Tamagotchi movie, which actually sounds like a better idea, quite frankly. But it's like, do we care still about Labubu? I don't know.
We've had moments as a podcast where we said we're done talking about this, and we don't care if you're a fan, we're done talking about this. So we might have to have a conversation about jettisoning the Labubu movie from all future conversations.
Into space. Forever.
Give it a
Burial
Viking
at
funeral.
space.
It is
Yep.
kind of funny though.
We're gonna have all these people comment on this episode.
I
Like,
love my
no,
Labubu.
I'm a huge I'm a huge Labubu fan. How dare you?
Sorry in advance.
Kirsten Dunst has joined the cast of the untitled Minecraft movie sequel from Warner Brothers Pictures and Legendary. Go ahead, Kirsten Dunst, get that bag.
Yep.
I don't knock you for it.
You
Do it.
you.
No, not a bit.
Labubu.
Have your chicken jockey moment. Chuck Norris, star of 1980s action movies like Missing in Action and the long-running CBS drama Walker, Texas Ranger, has died. He was 86. Scotty, obviously, what an icon, what a legacy. He will be missed, but he did live to the ripe old age of 86. And from what I saw, he was surrounded by friends and family. He had, lived the life that he wanted to and accomplished everything that he wanted to. The one part that is somewhat interesting, and I don't say this to be macabre or anything like that, but I think he turned 86 like 10 days before he died, and he posted like a reel of him sparring with someone and said, I don't age up, I level up. And certainly he has leveled up in this sense, but anybody that's as the same age as me or around the same age, you've heard the Chuck Norris jokes, and like when Chuck Norris falls into water he doesn't get wet, water gets Chuck Norris. So I mean, with just that kind of legacy, I mean, what can you say? It's obviously sad that he's passed, but yeah, I mean, just what an icon, what a legacy.
Yeah, he hit these new levels, I think, really like in the mid-aughts and late-aughts as like because the memes about that,
exactly.
like about like him being sort of like the ultimate man's man kind of thing. And
Right.
and he leaned into that, which was funny. He wasn't doing a lot of acting, but he was leaning into that idea of that. And so, when he died, I saw things like that out there, and I think they were tasteful, but it was stuff like, Chuck Norris hasn't died, he's just resting his eyes and stuff like that,
Right.
And it's like, and that's type of stuff is funny, and I think but it also sort of like lends to that this guy had a gigantic cultural impact, in
Sure.
terms of like what it means to be an action hero and what an action hero is, and how he, continued to sort of just train and keep himself in like peak physical condition even like later in life. So I think he really did define and redefine what it meant to be. I mean, we have the idea of the action hero, and I think we're losing those a little bit. I mean, we have our Tom Cruises and stuff like that. We still have some of these guys out there, but he's sort of, I think, one of those kind of like defining kind of like, this is what it means to be, if you're going to see a movie, he's going to be doing some insane stuff and stunts and fighting and all this type of stuff, because that's what he did. And so, yeah, you're seeing sort of a genre defining kind of guy here. So huge legacy that we're talking about with Chuck Norris.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning, like, he tapped into that machismo that you're talking about without the problematic sides of it. Like, not to throw anybody under the bus, but I think of somebody like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's doing something similar, but has a lot of baggage and naysayers around him. Chuck Norris never had that. So class
Chuck
act
Norris
through and
didn't
through.
pee in water bottles.
Yeah, he did not do that. So.
I don't know, maybe he did.
Netflix's live-action Assassin's Creed series will be an original story set in Rome in 64 AD, the streamer revealed last week. The hotly anticipated series, directed by Johan Rink, has started filming at Rome's Cinecittà Studios, or Cinecittà. It's Italian. Bear with me. The series has also added Lewis McCartney, Miran Mack, Yusuf Kakor, and Sandra Goldberg Camp to the cast in recurring roles. Scotty, I'm a pretty big Assassin's Creed fan, and I say that fully acknowledging that it's a series that has had a lot of highs and lows, both with the video games and some of the adaptations. And I feel like it's been like 15 years at this point that Netflix has been talking about some kind of series, be it animated, be it live action. So the fact that it's coming together in this sense is encouraging. But I'll be completely honest, at first blush, when I see the story is going to be set in Rome, doesn't do a lot to move the needle for me. We've had so many of these kind of stories set in that time period. We've even had games kind of set around that time period. So that was always the appeal for Assassin's Creed for me. It's like, hey, we're going to tap into these lesser known parts of history and kind of show you things that you might not know, having taken history classes in school, or just chances are you probably weren't exposed to it. So those were the kind of things that always drew me to the series. But certainly I won't write this off. It's all going to come down to how it looks when we get a trailer. So we shall see. Star Trek Starfleet Academy will end with its upcoming second season, Variety has learned exclusively.
Jay, this is obviously something that Matt would be more appropriately able to respond to, but it does seem like, and I think, and don't quote me on this, Star Trek people, but I think this, with the ending of this show, I think there's maybe another unaired season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds or something. But past that, I think this is the last Star Trek show. I don't think there's any more out there that are being made at the moment. So, I think as we're starting to see this Paramount, Warner Brothers merger take shape, this is going to be one of those franchises that sort of gets discussed about what kind of direction we want it to go in. I think, again, I don't have my finger on the pulse of the Star Trek fandom, but it does seem like this was a little bit of a divisive show in terms of like the reception, that it wasn't sort of universally loved, that some people really liked it and some people really hated it, and it wasn't really sort of kind of in the middle like you typically like to have with a show. So, I think for the franchise, it is in a kind of a strange place, it seems, where we've had talks of films, but nothing of that has really materialized to this point. It seems like the shows are getting canceled left and right. So there's probably some discussions going on, I would say, at Paramount about what does the future of this thing even look like. So this is, again, probably something that Matt could speak a lot more on, but yeah, we're seeing a winding down of Star Trek for sure. But that's probably with some type of a reset in mind, I would imagine.
Disney has released the first full trailer for the upcoming live-action adaptation of Moana, which will hit theaters on July 10th.
Okay, so they just put. Did we see the hair? Everybody see the hair?
The entire world saw the hair.
I mean, they just put hair on him, and they were like, "We're done. Like we're good." Man, like, okay, I'm not. I'll start this off by saying I'm not a huge Moana guy. I'm usually not super bought in on the live action adaptations either. But I don't think I have an unpopular or crazy opinion by saying that this trailer looked really bad. I thought it looked terrible. I mean, as I was watching it, The Rock kind of looks ridiculous. I mean, he kind of does. Like it looked like an SNL skit to me. It looked extremely, or like a T-Mobile commercial or something. Like it was extremely green screened. And maybe I'm just judging everything against Project Hail Mary now, and I'm just like, I've got zero tolerance for green screens anymore. Like maybe that's just what's happened. But it's so clear that it's so poorly shot. Like it's so clear they're not really on a location, and that they're just up against this bad CGI and bad backgrounds, and it's dark, and like they're on the boat at night and you can't see anything, and it's just, I don't know, I feel like we're not setting this thing up to like do itself any favors. I'm surprised that no one at Disney sat down and said, hey guys, we're going to get completely cooked on the internet if we put this out there. Like, people are just going to make fun of us, because that's exactly what happened. People just ran with it, talked about how ridiculous it looked, and people are like, what are we even doing? Like, why are we even making this? Like, you literally just took Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and you put a wig on him and you said, he's Maui now, And I know he voiced the character. Like, I know it's his thing, but it looked ridiculous, and the whole thing looks... I think it looks bad. I mean, and I'm usually going to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, but I thought this trailer looked extremely unfinished. And it makes sense why in the first teaser we got like a month ago, they just showed the back of The Rock jumping off a cliff or something, and we said, I wonder if he looks weird, And of course, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Of course he looks weird, because it's just all you can see is The Rock with long hair. Like, that's all you can see. You can't. I almost and I know you would have never been able to get it past him, because he voices the character and he's like a huge proponent of the movie and he wants to be in it. But I was like, you should have cast somebody else in that role. Like, you should have cast somebody that looks more like the animated version of the character, and doesn't look like The Rock, because it's just so I don't know, it wasn't a good look. Is it going to make $1 billion? Probably, but I just I don't think it looks good. I mean, I think it looks shot for shot to a fault, and I think it looks half baked, and it looks like they cut a lot of corners.
Listen, let me just have a little moment here about these GD live action remakes. As you were talking and saying, like, you can tell they're not even on location. They're not even in Hawaii, probably. They're probably at the Volume or something. Whatever. The thing about Disney animated movies that used to be, and still is, I think, depending on the film, very cool, is that the animators would, like, immerse themselves in the world they were creating. Like for The Lion King, they went to Africa, they went on safaris, they observed the lions so they could catch their movement. 101 Dalmatians, they bring these puppies into the studio, and there's like these adorable behind the scenes pictures from back then of them playing with these puppies and drawing them, and it's just like, and all of those classic films used to be like that. And I think that Moana, I think they did that with Moana. I think they went to Hawaii and stuff like that. And these live action things just, in my opinion, like, really take away from the art of doing that. And it's like, whoever came up with this idea, was Cinderella the first one? And they were like, we're going to do this and it's going to be great. And it's like, I don't know, if I was an animator, and I'm probably putting words in people's mouths, I'd be like, well, thanks for taking the thing we made and spent a lot of time on and built matte paintings for and like actually created art and turning it into this. I don't know. Sorry. That just popped in my mind and it kind of pissed me off.
Even like the chicken. What's the chicken's name? Like Hey or something like that. There's a scene in the trailer where it's an exact shot from the movie where they're on the boat and he's like bouncing around and she like grabs him by the neck and his like eyes bulge out and stuff. It's like straight from the movie. But she's grabbing him and it's not a real looking chicken. It's just it's like they cut
because
and
it
pasted.
Can't be.
It's like
because
they cut
it's a
and
ridiculous
pasted.
looking thing in the first place.
Right. They cut and pasted the animated version just into the live action version. Like she's just grabbing this like CGI looking chicken.
They were like,
it's
take this green tennis ball and just
Yeah.
pretend it's a chicken, a squishy ball.
Yeah.
Squeeze it real
and again,
hard.
am I just
Faster,
spoiled
more
because
intense.
I saw Puppet Rocky
That's
and
what she
and Project Hail Mary and now I'm spoiled? Yeah, probably. But I'm like, man, like you got to up your game if you're going to do this, like at least make it somewhat distinct. It's so shameless. It's just like, no, we're going to take a thing that everybody loves and we sell 1 billion toys for and we make all this money on and we're just going to make it exactly the same, but it's not going to look good and it's going to be live action and you're going to come pay for it and watch it again.
And the crazy thing is, like, they're making this Rapunzel one, and it has the potential to actually be good, which means they're going to keep doing it.
Right. I feel really bad for the young performer playing Moana because it's just like, how is nobody in her corner saying like, don't do this, don't let this be here. The Rock better take care of her. That's all I'm saying. He better sign her on for some movies after this. Anyway.
He doesn't
She
look like
doesn't-
he's having a good time either, by the way.
Yeah.
Like the Rock's
Yeah.
energy level in this trailer, it's like he's just
Yeah.
like he's
She
just
doesn't
hanging.
seem like the problem. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
everything around her is the problem.
Yeah,
Poor
which
kid.
that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ay. All right, I'm off my soapbox.
Two-time Oscar winner Mahershala Ali has joined the cast of Season 2 of Task, a detective drama for HBO alongside Mark Ruffalo.
Jay, Mahershala Ali famously starred in a season of True Detective, so this kind of seems like that. And I have not watched Task yet, but I've heard I'm a big detective show guy. I love detective shows, and I've heard only the highest praise for Task from people who've watched it, and it won a lot of awards too. So I'm definitely going to check it out, especially knowing there's a season 2. But that's some good star power to add in. Because his season of True Detective I really liked too. I think he plays that role of like a mysterious detective very, very well.
Jumanji 3 has shifted release dates from December 11th to December 25th of this year. Scotty, it's actually Jumanji 4.
I was like,
haven't-
isn't it Jumanji 5? I thought more of these movies
Another
would come
movie
out.
with The Rock. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. All of these movies have come out around the Christmas holiday, and I've seen a couple of them with my family during those times, and it's always got a big turnout. They're not my favorite movies, but they're not offensive. They're kind of the Minecraft of the Minecraft ilk, where it's pretty harmless as long as people don't destroy the movie theater. And I'll be curious to see how this one does though, because especially after like Anaconda, I get some sense that the juice left in this tank is kind of dwindling, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe people are more amped for it than I know.
Yeah, there's 2 big problems that this movie's going to have, and it's Dune 3 and Avengers Doomsday. So I wonder if part of the dance here has to do with that. If it's like, because they were supposed to come out before those movies. Now they're going to be coming out about a week after those movies. I got to wonder if there's some strategy there about trying to avoid the fallout from being up against those movies.
Yeah, I think there's a strong likelihood, or they're just kind of maybe banking on like families will be like, oh, certain members have already seen these 2 movies that were super prioritized. Let's go see something. We got to go see something.
Yeah.
Jumanji it is.
Hey, that Kevin Hart guy's funny. Let's go see Jumanji.
Jeez.
And finally, the HBO Harry Potter series showcased a first official look at the show via a photo posted to the show's official Instagram page. The image shows Harry with his back to camera, donned in his Quidditch gear as he approaches the field.
Haley.
Resident Quidditch expert? No, go ahead, Haley.
No, I'm famously think the rules of Quidditch are dumb, but we'll get into that here.
It looks like Harry Potter. I know it's because I'm, quite a bit older than I was when those movies first came out, but he looks so little. just a little kid. The end.
The end indeed. That brings this edition of Multiverse News to a conclusion. So as we wrap things up, let's go around the panel and let the people know what else we have going on. Haley, how about you?
Yeah, over on Source Pages, we did 2 primers for Daredevil, so check that out. We're going to do Son of Dathomir comics for Maul's Shadow Lord, and we have lots and lots of stuff coming up over there, so check us out there. I'll be on Bill and Ashley's Terror Theater next week or the week after for Ready or Not 2, and then check out Ash and I in Unqualified Opinions.
And Mr. J. Sisson.
Yeah, we're taking a little break from Commute the Podcast, but if you give us a follow over there, that'd be great. We'll be back. We just got some stuff going on, so taking a little break from that. But we did do a review we talked about on the Multiverse News feed of Project Hail Mary. So there's a little bit of spoiler-free reaction at the front, not very much, a couple minutes. So if you just kind of, I mean, you can kind of tell already that we all like the movie. But if you want to check in on the spoiler-free reaction, just listen to the first couple minutes. But yeah, go see Project Hail Mary, and then come listen to that podcast if you haven't already.
Yep, that's all I got too. Other than this show, that Multiverse Review is the only thing I really have going on. So please support that. Support your theater and go see Project Hail Mary or whatever movie you want to go see, and check out our review. That'll bring this episode to a close. You stay classy, Multiverse.